It was a good day, I think, for democracy.
Joe Biden's press conferences can be a surreal experience, so perhaps it wasn't so surprising that following the midterm elections, the president would take a victory lap, despite potentially losing both chambers of Congress.
Democrats had a strong night.
Yes, the Democratic Party did better than predicted, in part because of the Trump effect. Yet the president's comments suggest that had the predicted red wave occurred, we'd no longer be living in a democracy.
Our democracy has been tested in recent years, but with their votes, the American people have spoken and proven once again that democracy is who we are.
What the election result does highlight, much like 2020, is just how divided the country remains.
Help me, God.
Congratulations.
I said we're going to restore the soul of the country. Begin to treat each other with decency, honor, and integrity.
And yet, rather than using that as an opportunity to move back to a more moderate centre, which is how the president originally said he was going to govern, Mr. Biden has taken the result as vindication for a job well done.
I'm tired of trickle down. Not a whole lot trickles down when you trickle down to hardworking folks.
And while he did reference concerns at the forefront of most people's minds at the post-election press conference,
So the rising costs that they're in and the need to get inflation down. There's still a lot of people hurting. They're very concerned.
only one demographic was singled out, the one most closely aligned with the progressive wing of the party.
I especially want to thank the young people of this nation who, I'm told, I haven't seen the numbers, voted historic numbers again, and just as they did 2 years ago. They voted to continue addressing the climate crisis, gun violence, their personal rights and freedoms, and the student debt relief.
You mentioned that Americans are frustrated, and in fact, 75% of voters say the country is heading into the wrong direction despite the results of last night. What in the next 2 years do you intend to do differently to change people's opinion of the direction of the country, particularly as you contemplate a run for president in 2024?
Nothing, because they're just finding out what we're doing.
The next 2 years in Washington will likely be gridlocked, with nothing getting done. And after the past 2 years, to many people's minds, that's not a bad thing.
We are not anywhere near a recession right now in terms of the growth, but I think we can have what most economists call a soft landing. I'm convinced that we're going to be able to gradually bring down prices so that they, in fact, end up with us not having to move into a recession to be able to get control of inflation.
At some point in the future, Donald Trump, MAGA Republicans, and threats to democracy won't resonate with voters.
I don't think we're going to break the fever for the super mega MAGA Republicans.
But believing that the midterms result doesn't warrant some kind of reflection or introspection on the part of Democrats is surely to the country's detriment.
2/3 of Americans in exit polls say that they don't think you should run for re-election. What is your message to them, and how does that factor into your final decision about whether or not to run for re-election?
It doesn't.
What's your message to them? To those 2/3 of Americans?
Watch me.